Well, it's been 3 months since I was able to get out on the boat and do some fishing. My son was in town. My daughter's wedding was this past weekend, and I really wanted to take him out to Florida Bay and try to limit out on some speckled trout and some mangrove snapper. Tuesday was our only window of opportunity, so we went out even though they were calling for 80% chance of rain and some kind of brisky winds, which you can hear in the background. But we went out and we saw the devastation of Hurricane Irma and what it did to Flamingo, the visitor center, the marina, the pontoon boats that are sitting up on dry land. But we were able to launch. We went out, and as you can see in the background, we had rain all around us. We were quite fortunate that we didn't get rained on. The fishing conditions were not the greatest. Not only did we have the wind to deal with, but because of the late start and uncooperative tides, we had almost dead water in this location. There was a lot of silt in the water, 15 inches of depth. You could not see the turtle grass beneath us, and there were lots of clumps of grass being blown by the wind. You'll probably see some come through the video here in just a second. But nevertheless, we did try to make the best of the circumstances, and while this is not the most glamorous of fishing videos that I've produced, or the most productive, it is a fishing trip, and not all days are going to be your best days. The most important thing is we were out on the water. My son and I were having a good time together, bonding, making the best of it. Family time. That's what we had. James has got his first fish. Let's see what we got. Don't lose him. Get him up. Huh? Oh, you gotta. Oh, wait a minute. Be careful. That's a cell cat. Yeah. Well, we fished at that location out in Florida Bay for a little longer, and we decided we needed to make a move. So I asked James where he thought we might should go, and he suggested one of the snapper locations where we had been successful on several prior trips on the Little Joe River up on the north side of Flamingo. So we had two options. We could either go back to Flamingo, put the boat on the trailer, move it over to the inside ramp and relaunch, or we could take the long trip around what is that, Cape Sable I guess it is, and go all the way up to the Little Shark River and then cut back inside. So we decided, since we had not done that outside trip before, that's what we would do. Even with the winds blowing, it wasn't too bad. So we went in, and of course once we got inside the shelter of the Little Shark River and the Little Joe River, we could open the boat wide up, and we headed on down, and we tried our mangrove snapper locations, and neither one of them were producing. We had a super high tide in there. As you can see here, James was able to catch a second fish for the day, and I will say right now, he skunked me. This is his second, what do they call them, gaff sail top? I call them sail catfish, but anyhow, I forget the proper name for it. His second one, and those were the only two fish that we caught. I fished artificials all day. He was fishing live shrimp. When we were making the trip on the outside, we did run through an area where there were some tarpon, because we had maybe a 30-40 pound tarpon jump within 15 feet of the boat. It was beautiful. He just kind of rolled the surface and just barely cleared the water. It shocked both of us. We slowed down, threw some lines out, but we didn't catch any. But anyhow, we decided we'd call it a day. We'd been lucky enough with no rain. James decided to get some pictures of the trip, so we headed on back. I was really surprised that the water had such a dark tannin color up there in Little Joe River, Whitewater Bay area. And since I've only been fishing that area since April, I'm really not sure. In this picture here, you can actually see how dark it was. I'm not sure if this is normal for this time of year, or whether it was due to interaction with Hurricane Irma. Anyhow, we had a fantastic day on the water, even though we didn't catch any real quality fish to bring home. But you know, not every fishing trip you're going to catch fish. Headed on back down to Flamingo and brought the boat in. I will say the nice thing about it, with all the wind that was blowing, there had very few mosquitoes there for this time of year. The buzzards were on the ramp. It was just a good day. It just really was a good day. We really enjoyed ourselves, and that's what being out on the water is all about. Since I hadn't been fishing in 3 months due to death of one of my aunts and having to make another trip for her estate and a vacation up to Maine, Hurricane Irma and the post-hurricane cleanup. I'll show you a picture of that debris pile in just a few minutes. And then, of course, planning for and the actual wedding of my daughter. It's taken up quite a few of my weekends. The boat sat covered under the cover for most all of that 3-month period, and there was a lot of mildew in here. You can't see it in this picture here, but there was mildew in the boat that I'm going to have to take care of also. So after my daughter gets back from her honeymoon, I'll have an opportunity to get back out on the water, and I'll be hopefully back to producing regular videos for everybody to see. More importantly, to give me an opportunity to get back out on the water and enjoy the sport that I am really enjoying right now, and that's fishing. So I want to thank all of y'all for coming along and enjoying this trip with me. Wishing everybody bent rods and tight lines. Well, this is one of the reasons why I haven't been out fishing in 3 months. If you have a hurricane come through and you have a lot of black olive trees in your yard, this is what you end up with. A debris pile. Of course, it's settled now, but back when it was green, it was over 6 feet tall, almost 100 feet long, and 8 feet wide between the sidewalk and the street. Happy to say that today, October 22nd, my block looks like it's going to get cleared up.